Guys. Hi guys. So, I'm gonna do another chapter of NES Godzilla creepypasta, and it's called Pathos. Pathos was the same as Jupiter layout, except the board was dark blue rather than green. The first thing I noticed was that all the usual level icons have been replaced by a blue rock in some kind of orange honeycomb shape. There's one icon I had part of the jungle icon shape, but I didn't pay much attention to it. I checked the other side of the board to see the new monster. Instead of Hedorah, it was Biollante. But that couldn't have been right. Godzilla vs. Biollante didn't come out until 1989. This game were made in 1988. Perhaps Toho put Biollante in the game to build excitement for the movie next year, but changed their minds. I tried to rationalize the game's abnormalities any way I could, but this would prove to be futile. Pathos Map song was like the first new song I heard in the game. Like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe. I'll try. It started out slow and suspenseful, much slower than any song in the game, but every 12 seconds or so there will be a loud clashing sound and the tempo changed. It was like the composer randomly played parts from 5 different songs from the same instruments. I moved Godzilla over to the many blue rock icons that replaced the jungle icons and started the level. The level resembled a blue mountain range with a blood-red planet in the sky, but there was something odd about the mountains. They had a shredded paper look to them. I thought at first maybe the glitch had affected it, but it looked far too international. I quickly noticed something else about the new level. There were no enemies at all, not even any obstacles. I should also mention that this where the point meter started to become glitched beyond comprehension, but didn't bother me much. I never keep up with the game points. So without having to focus anything, I listened to the music while walking through the level unopposed. The music had a sorrowful feel to it. It would have been rather pleasant. Had I heard it in a normal game? Had I heard it in a normal? It would have been rather pleasant had I heard it in a normal game. The level went on for 3 screens, but with no obstacles around. I finished it very quickly. I tried other levels of the same type to see if any enemies disappear, but there were none. There was little else to be seen in the Blue Mountains, so I tried the other level type. I started one of the orange levels, and my eyes were assaulted with a grotesque background of two tumorous orange eyes. The sky was the same as the ground, so I assumed the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave. The only enemies here was a Montongo spawn, but as you can see, the little butts were everywhere. The music certainly didn't help, with a mixture of screeching sounds and a loud drum beat that sounded like a monster's theme in a horror film. After completing it, I tried to avoid playing through any more of these levels whenever I could. The map was short, so it was only a few minutes before I was heading to a rematch with Godzilla and Mogira. But this time, their sprites and attack patterns were vastly different. That's the not monsters. I fought Mogira first. Mogira's replacement was a flying machine with a slight resemblance to a Pascula alien. It was a bit like fighting Mothra, only it moved with a lot more grace. It attacked by spinning its front tentacle like a corkscrew, and it still had an I-beam, except now it fired from the drill. The lanky aberration has replaced Godzilla, and the new beast was kind of a challenge. It would run and jump at a fast pace, constantly swinging its arms around to make it hard to get close. And of course, it tried to pin me to the corner with a much annoying resolve as ever. I defeated it using a combination of tail whips and heat beam spamming. I defeated him and was going to fight Titanosaurus. But when I started to fight, Titanosaurus was nowhere to be seen. And the game simply went back to the map with the Titanosaurus piece now missing. There was no one left to fight now but Biollante, so I eagerly started the battle. I was quite surprised that Biollante started to fight as her rose form. She was immobile and used tentacles to keep me away from the main body, which took the most damage. As expected, she turned into her final form after taking enough damage. The sprite looked pretty dang good for 8-bit. The battle technique was the same, except now Biollante could move a bit slower than any other monster. Being hit by the tentacle did more damage now, and Biollante can do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping in the screen cap. Not much difficult to beat than Titanosaurus. It only took 2 rounds, but when Biollante was gone, the music had stopped, and there was a new icon replacing the bass. This icon wasn't there before. I beat Biollante, and it resembled a red tribal mask, and I had a feeling of dread when I saw it. But since it replaced the bass, it must be the only way to exit pathos. I moved Godzilla to the square and started the level. It was a heckish looking place with no sky and a flickering fire in the background. The fire looked far more advanced than anything I've seen on the NES. There was music in the form of a slow, steady drum sound resembling a heartbeat. On the text of the screen and the light bar were gone. In their place, it was a single bit of text in the middle of the screen that said, "Run." My feeling of adrenaline intensified. I cautiously walked through the level, but like the Blue Mountains, there were no enemies. I paced around before thinking, run? From what? The first time it hit me, I didn't even see it. I heard a noise outside my room and turned back to see something fell. And when I looked back, Godzilla was dying. I figured it must have been a glitch. But I wasn't going to pay through the game without... Oh, Godzilla. So I restarted the game and went to the password screen. Have I ever mentioned how creepy the password screen is? If you played the game... well, you know what I mean. It doesn't at all fit the mood of the game. It's more like something from a horror game. Maybe they made it like that so kids won't cheat. I was quite annoyed at this point because I thought I was going to have to fight all the monsters again. But that didn't happen. The game started right off for hours before I started the red level and tried again, making sure to pay attention this time. That's when I heard a low bellowing sound, and I saw it. This thing. Do you know that feeling when your body has when you feel like you're in extreme danger? You start to recoil and tense up as the adrenaline flows through your veins, and your nerves start to feel very cold. That's the feeling I had when I took the screen cap. I haven't seen all the Godzilla movies, but I'm pretty dang sure this was never in any of them. It had to be something the creators made up. But what kind of sick crap would put this in a children's game? By sheer dumb luck, or perhaps the adrenaline boost, I managed to run fast enough to get away from it. It ran very fast, So much so that if you saw it, you were almost certainly going to die. And when I say die, I mean the monster gets killed instantly if the creature touches him. Once I had gone back to the map, I was so afraid that I was extremely tempted to just shut the game off and try to pretend this never happened. I couldn't believe what I had seen. It could have been real. And even if I wanted to continue, I still have to get Mothra through this chase level by staying active on map screen for a few minutes. My fear was replaced by burning curiosity. What the heck had just happened? What was the rest of the game like? I only had to beat this level with Mothra, and it was on to the next world. But when I moved Mothra to the red face, the game registered it as me beating the level. I was quite relieved. I had to prepare myself for the next world. Trance. Bye.